Ole, the Monday show has become an international panel show. We've got two wonderful guests with us today. Willem's been with us before, and of course, Cody. Gentlemen, how's everybody doing today?
Good.
Great.
My pandemic haircut is kind of like a work in progress. It's particularly lumpy today. I've given it to myself. This side needs some attention. It's terrible. But we've got a lot more important things to discuss than my hair. What do we have on topic here today, Ole?
Well, great intro, by the way. So now we know about your hair. For those who don't know about Willem Felderhof, Willem is an old friend of mine. Wonderful person who started as a Green Beret, then started working for a major airline where he was a pilot for more than 25 years, which ended up into a massive big conflict because he exposed what is called air toxic syndrome, and which is one of the only reasons to wear a mask these days, which is when you're on board of a big jet plane. So he actually became famous as the toxic pilot in the Netherlands for standing up and exposing this very dangerous thing that more or less all new jet planes are having. Anyway, so he's been involved in several different international documentaries about this thing, and we also did a show about that. So as I said before we went on air, it's a real pleasure to get Willem and Cody together for the first time as well. I've been wanting that for many years, or several years. So, well, let's see where it goes today.
Yep. And Willem, you've got a website called DutchAnarchy.com. You want to give us a little background for people who perhaps haven't seen you before?
Well, yeah, that's short history. What Ola just mentioned, that's what I did as a job as a pilot. I'm mainly a pilot. That's where my passion lies and my quality, actually. The rest is sort of hobbies. But the website is DutchAnarchy.com. And this gives a lot of confusion sometimes for people because they see the word anarchy as being some form of chaos and total madness, but it's actually the opposite. I consider real anarchy as being order. The word anarchy stands for no as an, absence of, and is control, no external control. And now we live in a monarchy, so that's the opposite. And now we live in chaos, in a system of slavery and violence. So the anarchy is actually is the same as order. It's just peace and harmony, literally. That's why I associate it with. Today, actually, I'm not allowed to do anything on YouTube anymore. I just I'm totally deleted. My third channel has been taken down, and I got a message that during repeated violations of hate speech, blah blah blah. So that's taken down. I'm not on Facebook anymore. So I'm just totally retreating, which was part of my whole strategy as well, because I think we need to unplug more and more of this. So people cannot find me on YouTube anymore.
It's a double-edged sword, of course, because we can use social media to communicate some of these ideas, but as you've pointed out, Willem, they want to shut down ideas that don't agree with the World Health Organization or some of the propaganda that they want to put out. This is the reason why Ole and I created this sponsor-exclusive show. We're going to be starting that in just 25 minutes on patreon.com/lightonconspiracies, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Ole, are you on Subscribestar now?
No.
Okay.
No. There's too much going on. There's so many different platforms to keep up with, and one is getting shut down, then the other one is it's a bit of a nightmare. But Willem, would you mind showing us your T-shirt? I thought that was
this T-shirt. I have several actually. This is just
COVID-19.
These T-shirts
just tested positive for fraud.
COVID's fault, yeah.
That's great.
But actually, my haircut is the same. It's my pandemic haircut because I don't go to the barber because they say you have to wear a mask in the barber,
right.
And I So I'm coming with this shirt in the barber, but that's my reason for my haircut, by the way.
Yours looks better than mine by a lot.
Well, you need some attention also.
But Willem, you've done a lot of research into, you were a pilot, you were testing the air quality, you uncovered this aerotoxic syndrome. A lot of people have questions about what the future of international travel is going to look like. We're expecting a lot more restrictions. And, you know, Cody has a lot of insight into how these sort of plans, these war-gamed operations are carried out. We're going to be going into some depth about a recent international journey that you took, some of your insights as a former pilot and as an analyst of the airline industry as to what we might anticipate the future of international travel will hold. Perhaps less air travel down the road. And we'll talk about how that plays into what you've discovered with aerotoxic syndrome. Ole and Cody have spoken to us quite a bit about an area that you're very familiar with, Willem, which is aerosolized injection of aluminum and other things into the atmosphere. We've spoken about the HARP, we've spoken about chemtrailing and pollution and things like that. You're a guy who's into clean living and detoxifying the body, isn't that right?
Well, yeah, I'm now in Holland, but in France I live outside in the middle of nowhere in nature, out of Wi-Fi environment, out of mobile reach, and so that's a very clean detox environment. But now I'm in the opposite. I'm in the city in Holland, in The Hague, in the city. So I'm now in a microwave, toxic microwave. So I'm not really in a detox environment at this time.
The Hague is certainly where we might want to see some of these international criminals put on trial. Perhaps you could facilitate
Well, these
that.
international criminals founded and created this whole institute, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's a sad story. It's the exact opposite of what we're being told. It's the criminals' own court that are where decent people are being tried out and even murdered. One person was murdered in this within this court. So
Wow.
it's like.
It's called the baby of Madeleine Albright, this international criminal court here in The Hague.
Wow. Wow. And is it just International Criminal Court, The Hague, Holland?
Well, I mean, there are several international criminal courts, but I think this one is the most.
There we go.
Sorry?
There it is.
It's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, if you're looking at extraordinary buildings, ugly like hell, but you have the American Embassy in Den Haag, which is how would you describe that, Willem? Is that just like an ordinary, nice-looking, stylish embassy, or what would you describe it as?
Well, first of all, it's a huge military base, underground mostly. It's huge, it's massive. That's further down the road. On the other, it's a whole ring, and it's in The Hague. The Hague is a very interesting city for this New World Order construct for legal reasons, but also intelligence, communication, and all the headquarters of these main corporations are also based in The Hague, which was for me, or for energetic reasons alone, not possible to live here anymore, despite that this is really my city, my tribe. But that's the thing that is just 500 meters from my former house. Is energetically, you feel what's happening there, and so it's connected with each other. The headquarters Shell is further down the road. Headquarters Interpol. Then you have
headquarters
the
of Shell, the oil company.
Yeah, yeah.
Boy, this U.S. embassy looks like a junkyard.
Well, it's finished now. This is old.
Under construction.
But look at the size of it.
Well, Cody, what can you tell us about these embassies around the world? I mean, a lot of people have told us that U.S. embassies are military or intelligence bases.
Well, most of the embassies are really fronts. I mean, the diplomatic stuff is a cover, and a lot of the agents that have OCOs, the official cover operatives, they'll have a diplomatic cover, like a liaison to the press secretary or some fancy title. And it's just a cover from which they can do their clandestine surveillance or, they try to get human intelligence and co-opt other agents or get them to be double agents. That's a common thing for the embassies. They're basically just a cover, with the diplomacy being the shield, that they use.
Right. It's amazing.
This so-called dark occult, or these intelligence agencies operating through these bases as well, these embassies and what more, and that's also the flag carriers of these companies. Like they're being supported to keep them going, because they make use of, especially flag carriers, of the commercial in commercial aviation. But that's part of it. It's true. I think this is all mobilizing traffic and it's a whole military construct and infrastructure, and embassies are an intrinsic part of it. But The Hague, they call Holland. That's why it's interesting to be here, to see the dynamics mechanisms in this society. Comes from the same source, but you said it, that Ian called the Holland the nice world order. Yeah. And it's true. It's in a way it's true. It's not better, or it's worse, or it's bad as well, but it's different.
But Willem, also I remember you were speaking to an insider that from, I think it was Google or one of these other big tech giants, who said that they very deliberately had chosen Holland because it's below sea level. A lot of that it's very low on a frequency level. Could you give us a little bit of info about that?
Yeah, Holland is the lowest country in the world. It's below sea level. It's 10 feet below sea level. So I was connected by somebody with a person who worked for the OPCW, the Organization Production of Chemical Warfare, which is also based in The Hague. And she was working there, and she was a translator, and she saw these documents, and she saw the reality of it. And she contacted me because she had very moral problems working there, because she saw it, but she had a mortgage, all that stuff. So I asked her, why are all these institutions based in The Hague? Do you have any information of that? Do you hear these people talking about it? And she said because of this fact that it's geographically one of the lowest countries on the altitude in the world, and that's for energetic reasons that they built these institutes on for frequency energetic reasons in The Hague. But I don't know the specifics of it, but she mentioned that they of course are also taking into account energetic reasons for building, same as churches or whatever, on specific geographic locations. And it is interesting because that Holland is below sea level and that these institutions are there. And she mentioned that they said that this for energetic reasons, same as this occult in the Second World War. This occult movement was very interested in the Himalaya and the Buddhists over there, because it's on higher frequencies and energetic aspects of it that they use this for different purposes, and maybe also to make that as a base.
Wow. That's
you also have the Schiphol, the airport, which is I've spoken to insiders where both people from Mossad and the CIA say that that airport is a main hub for these type of operations. Very easy to get access to. Also, the restrictions for these agencies are so much more open than in other countries. Is that something you know anything about, Willem?
Well, I know that this is it's a big Mossad hub, and it's a big hub for weapons and drug transition and terrorists. I mean, most of these terrorists, they moved through Schiphol Airport. So the security is done by this. What is it? This company who does all the security.
ITCS?
Yes.
ITCS, yeah.
And by the way, when I just attempted to display Schiphol Airport, the computer crashed. I'm trying to exercise best practices. They're very cold to the touch right now, so it's not an overheating problem as I had previously anticipated. I have no direct evidence that our broadcasts are being directly interfered with, but it's interesting to see when the various computers stop functioning. They don't want us to look at Schiphol Airport.
Cody, have you got any experience, Cody, when it comes to Holland and Schiphol?
No.
I mean, it's very interesting.
Willem, you've flown there a lot.
Holland is one of the smallest countries in the world. It has the biggest airport in the world when it's on surface level. The surface area of Schiphol Airport is enormous, big, and we had the biggest boat harbor in the world. So Rotterdam was the biggest harbor. Now it's not anymore, but it was. So it's very interesting. Why is that? This small country has all these things. But Schiphol is huge. If you see it that on the surface level, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, largest airport in the world.
Wow. Well, we're almost, we've got just a few minutes more here before we continue our conversation during the sponsor exclusive segment on patreon.com/lightonconspiracies and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We've got Schiphol now available for people to take a look at here. Let me just bring that up really quickly. Anything in particular that we want to point out about the airport? Oh, no. Oops. I thought you guys crashed. Just in general, it's a hub for... I've heard that as well, that something, either Mossad or something having to do with Israel is in charge of security at Schiphol. And when I heard it, it was presented as like a point of pride, like the security is so good there because they're using Israel or whatever.
Well,
I would wonder, about any possible chemtrail spraying or geoengineering spraying around that airport. Over here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, I just had a guy from the U.S. Navy. He sent me pictures of clear white chemtrail lines, and then at 90-degree angles, there are gray chemtrail lines. It's the first time we've ever seen the two colors together, and I just wonder if they're doing that type of multi-layered or multi-staging chemtrail operations over there, over that airport.
Well, usually Holland is very much being sprayed with heavy, dense layers of chemtrails, actually. But I don't know what I think, because at the same time, Holland, the western part of Holland, is just like one big HARP station. The cities have become sort of HARP stations because of the cumulative radio magnetic frequencies and density which comes off it. Therefore, it's ionizing the atmosphere above it, and then you see it more. I don't know if it's especially done more here, or that you see it more here because of this electromagnetic aspect from coming down from the surface here in Holland.
Well, we're going to get into that and more details. Willem, I apologize. Sometimes the shows come together in a, I don't want to use the word haphazard, but kind of an impromptu manner. And I was hopeful that you might be able to give us some insights, given your background and all the types of stuff you look into, about what people might be facing with international travel. I know you've just traveled, as you said, between Holland and France, not by air, but you encountered some things that are perhaps unique to the situation with the worldwide lockdown, and we're going to get into that and also more topics. Here on YouTube, they get very upset if we even mention chemtrails, despite the fact that former CIA Director John Brennan gave a presentation about aerosolized aluminum injection. He's a big fan of it, and they still deny that it's anything that we can really talk about on YouTube. So that's part of the reason why we've created this sponsor exclusive show. We'll get into this in more details. Anything you guys want to touch on before we wrap up the show here on YouTube?
Nope. Just looking forward to this talk.
Absolutely. Yes. And of course, people can also watch these simulcast YouTube previews on Ole's Facebook page. Ole, how do people find you on Facebook?
It's very difficult. You write in my name and there I am.
Very good. That's a little bit of Danish sarcasm for you there. But we'll see everybody in just about 10 minutes on Patreon and Subscribestar. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm going to go see if I can address this in some way. We'll be back with you in just 10 minutes. Thanks for watching.